tonight we have a guest straight from South Africa. His name is Koch, and he is with us to tell us how the white people in South Africa, mainly the Boer nation, feel about the secession of King Kubaha. But where I would like to start tonight is with a historic thing that happened on Monday in South Africa. It was called Black Monday, and there was a call out for all whites to stand up and wear black, to drive in convoys to block the roads, to stand up and protest the farm murders. This was a great success. It was, for me, an enormous thing to see the whites of South Africa standing together for one cause. However, there are some downsides to this action. While the protest was happening, 2 farmers were killed. One was shot 9 times. And I wonder, and I'm forced to wonder, given Malema's comments on it, given the police chief's comments on it, whether this is maybe going to have bad consequences for the farmers in South Africa rather than the intended good ones. The only thing that is really wonderful about this is that messages of support poured in from around the world, from Thailand, New Zealand, Australia, even from Oklahoma, my bordering state here in America. It was a wonderful thing to see that around the world people are taking notice. But is it going to work for or against the farmers in South Africa? Welcome, Gerhardt.
Thanks, Karin.
Gerhardt, your opinion, before we go on to the secession, your opinion on the Black Monday protests of the whites in South Africa.
Karin, my honest opinion, I'm glad that the people are, like they say in our language, hardcore, that means fed up.
Yeah.
And they're showing solidarity. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing for them to finally realize that enough is enough. Okay. Unfortunately, as suspected, there will be repercussions with it. So what we are thinking is, stirring the hornet's nest. Now they will go out and say, well, while you do this, we are going to increase the farm murders. And as you saw, 2 farm murders while this Black Monday was going on.
Yeah.
And then that supposedly brake failure on that truck that drove into the Boers and killed some of them. I mean, that would have happened in Paris. Huge news.
Yeah.
And I've heard nothing on our news about it. It's only on our WhatsApp, and see the pictures. It's horrific. Seeing people crumpled up like that, and you see it your own nation. And that is one of the things that upsets us, because we will go out and demonstrate peacefully. Okay? You didn't see one Boer go looting. You didn't see one burning tires. You didn't see one shouting slogans, one bullet, one black. You saw no hatred or racism. Okay? What you saw was solidarity. I was involved. I'm not going to say where I was involved to keep my location quiet. But right over the country, it was good. The reports that came in that there was a big show of solidarity. It was huge numbers. But it also gives the enemy, and we classify the enemy, anybody willing or wanting to kill us in a mass genocide. Currently, it's a slow genocide. And we are hoping that the people internationally realize a genocide is a genocide. If it's slow or mass, it's still genocide.
Yeah.
Okay. Our numbers are decreasing, and it's decreasing rapidly. Why is it decreasing? Not just farm murders. The way they are treating us with this BEE, with the economic depression that they put us in. I mean, I can't find a job in my own country. So, with this situation, the Boers don't want to have kids anymore. Okay?
Yeah.
Because we can only have kids what we can feed. Okay? And so their long-term plan is working. I don't know if you've seen the manifesto sent out by the ANC in 93.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And they had this whole plan. What is happening today was already detailed by them. So even before FW de Klerk turned traitor and sold us out, okay, they already had this plan. And don't tell me our intelligence system is so bad in those days that they didn't have that or could get their hands on that. Okay. So we were sold down the tube for a penny. Okay. It might not be a penny in many people's eyes, but it's nothing compared to the value of this country.
Yeah.
Current. Okay. And that is what the world is fighting for. And there's a lot more behind this than the world realized. And I think once the world realizes what it's about, they might wake up. Okay. How many countries fight for having a uranium, plutonium deposit as used as these in South Africa? Now, not only that, we've already got the nuclear power station.
Yeah.
So we can already make enriched plutonium. So we've got the capability for nuclear warheads already. And we used to have that. You know, the old regime or apartheid years, as they used to call it. We were a force to be reckoned with. Now today, it's a pathetic country. It's a country going down the tubes. Like Zimbabwe, which was the breadbasket of Africa at one stage, South Africa is a feeding nation. And it's not even slowly, it's quickly becoming a nation that's going to become dependent on outside help,
Yeah.
and donations, things like that.
Yeah.
We are already there. We need, even as Boers, we need donations currently, you know. So, yeah, we are definitely thinking that today was a success, showing some solidarity, but we also look at it with trepidation and knowing that the bomb murders will increase, but we hope that it wakes up the liberals and that they know that even though they are not Boers, that they are white. And Malema and Zuma nowhere ever said they're just going to kill the Boers. They said kill whites.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So they're not going to spare anybody because of I'm a liberal and I'm English. You know, your skin color is white. So they're going to come for everyone.
And as I understand it, Gerhardt, they're coming soon.
Yes. I cannot tell you what we know or what we suspect. Okay. But, yeah, we reckon it's going to be sooner rather than later. And if they're clever, if they are really clever, it would rather be sooner than later. Because the more time you give me as a Boer, the better prepared I am. Okay? So if they want to do the clever thing, and they're not clever, they should have acted in 2008.
Yeah.
In 2008, the Boers are more prepared. And every day they give us more, we are better prepared. So I think they realize this because if you can look at the frequency and the attacks and the urgency that they're putting at the day now, they realize that they're making us stronger. They're not making us weaker. You know, it's an old age saying that only the strong survive. Yeah. They are just culling the weak. But the strong they're making us stronger.
And more angry. And more angry.
And more angry. And so if you're covering with the poortstok and a loose ball me, you don't scratch with a very short stick.
Yeah.
You don't tickle a lion's balls with the short stick.
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you absolutely because the the Afrikaner nation as a whole, and I know you prefer to call them the Boer, but as a whole, they are very peaceful people. They have never wanted to fight, ever, 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 as I see it, and as I've read the history and as I've told the history many times. They do not want to rule over anybody. They do not want to fight. They just want to be left to farm. The Boer means in English farmer. And that is what they want, to be left alone in peace to do. They have no wish to rule over nations, to colonize people, to be the boss. They just want to be left alone. And the more you poke that bear with your stick, the more trouble you're making for yourself. That's how I feel about it.
That's true, Karin. You know, we believe we are an Adamitic race. Our roots are from Adam, not from the boy's son, but from Adam. Okay. A lot of people say test your DNA and you get boy's son in there.
Yeah.
We believe we are from an Adamitic race, and Adam was put on this earth, our Heavenly Father, the God of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac, to tend the Garden of Eden. So he was, in spirit, a farmer. Okay. He was there, he was given the purpose of maintaining and feeding and looking after. And that is what, if you look at a Boer's nature and his whole demeanor, that's what he wants to do. If you can show me one instance of a conflict that was started by a Boer, I would give you an ice cream. That's all I can afford at this moment.
The English style, eat my hat. So.
Yeah, well, I'm just my hat. I put no hair. So I don't eat that. The sun is harsh out.
Very, very harsh. Gerhardt, the mess in South Africa. I don't even know anymore what to say. There's a lovely Afrikaans word, moedeloos. And that's kind of how I've become about the South African issue, because we have tried for such a long time to draw international attention to it, to make people wake up, to make even South Africans wake up and see. Because some of my own family in South Africa deny totally what is going on around them. And yes, you've called them the liberals, and it's not only English people, though, Gerhardt. There are a lot of Afrikaans-speaking people, and my feeling is that as long as they're still making money and living a good life in the midst of all this murder and horror that's going on, they're going to remain that way.
Yes, we don't consider them Boers. Okay. We consider them as sellouts, because most of your rich, this is an interesting thing at one of the meetings with Kubaha that we had with the Good Hope, is that they said, yeah, but you white guys are rich. And I said, no, you're making a big mistake. The Boers are not rich. Yes, you do get those Boers that are better off than the rest, but they've worked hard for it. Okay? And I mean, if he drives a nice fancy John Deere, he's not doing it because he's windgat or arrogant. He's doing it so that he can plant better, plant more, okay, and increase his crops. So, but then you get those Boers that belong to the Broederbond, okay? Now the Broederbond is just Afrikaans for Freemason, okay? So everything here works on a Masonic system, and unfortunately, the Jews have worked themselves into that Masonic, or they've always been the head of the Masonic rule, and basically those are the rich ones. They look after each other. Now we can't depend. We don't believe in asking them to help us. But if they in any moment believe that they are safe because they are part of the Broederbond, they're making a huge mistake. Because his skin is the same color as mine. And how does a black man differentiate between who to kill when a mass murder comes? So, in that case, it's rather safe than sorry, let's kill all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I have always said that when they come and break into your house, they do not ask you, are you English, were you anti-apartheid, are you a Boer, are you an Afrikaner, are you rich, are you poor? They don't care. You are white, and that is the only thing that matters to them.
That's basically the crux of the matter. You see, and once the liberals and the Broederbonders and all the whites wake up and realize that there's going to come a time when none of them is safe. Okay. Then they're going to turn to the Boers and say, please help us. And maybe they're not going to find us because we've been preparing in our own certain way. We have been making our little plans and preparing for what we know that is coming. We've been trying to warn them. We've been trying to warn the liberals and other people that doesn't want to listen. But like you said, it's still going too well with them. Yeah. But hopefully, with this BLF and EFF land grab, what the people don't realize is what the law that they're trying to push through says all property. Okay, so if the government deems your car as property, or I deem my car as property, I deem my house as property, they can take that away from you. It doesn't need to be land. A lot of these rich people have got these nice holiday homes next to the coast that they don't utilize. They've earned it. They've worked with it. But in the African Ubuntu culture, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They don't believe in you work for something. Hey, if you're not using it, I can use it. You see? So, and you know, all the Ubuntu traditions, it's not actually a bad thing, you know. And the Boers never minded when they maybe take a sheep or a cattle. But as long as it's for feeding a family, not like they do today, they just cut off the leg and then leave the rest of the animal to die agony and pain.
I've seen those pictures, Gerhardt. I have seen those pictures, you know, and I have seen farmers crying, grown men crying at their cattle just lying there, not even dead, just mutilated.
Well, it might be silly to people in the outside world or the international world or people living in cities and towns, but a farmer gets attached to every single animal on his farm. Okay. I wish you can see some of my friends talking to his chickens, whistling to them, a wolf's whistle, and they come running and he feeds them. He loves each one of his animals. The dogs, even the snake today, we got a nice big puff at it today. Instead of killing it, he took it to another place and he set it free. You know? It's these people that love the land, love the animals, and that's what a Boer is. And, I mean, if you love animals and you love nature that way, how can you hate another human being? Okay. Now, I don't want to say, I'm just going to generalize, let's say living beings. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into whether we think they're human or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd like
to us something that, I tell you what, to us something that maims, kills, right? For pure joy is not a human being. Okay. Now, they get offended when we call them baboons. They get offended when we call them animal names. But I tell you what, if you don't want to be called an animal name, stop behaving like an animal.
Yes, Gerhardt, because that's another thing I'd like you to talk about is the horrific, barbaric way that they kill white people in South Africa, and then the government calls it normal robbery, or they died of natural causes. Now, this to me, The world doesn't understand the government involvement in this. And if the government is prepared to put on your death certificate natural causes, they are involved. There's no two ways about that.
I suppose in their definition it might be natural. In our definition as human beings or people with empathy, we need empathy. Okay, first of all, person that can wrap a baby in newspaper, throw all over it, set it alight and put it in an oven as a joke. To us it's a demonic being, an animal, a person with no sympathy or empathy. I mean, just take a normal dog. If you hit the dog and the dog helps in pain, look at your reaction. Do you feel empathy? If you don't feel empathy, then you're not a human being.
Yeah.
You know, you can cause pain and derive pleasure from it. You're not a Boer at heart. Okay? You're not a godly created being. Okay? So, yeah, that I don't want to go into details of the horrific ways. I'm sure everybody out there has seen it. They've seen it, but they don't believe it because nobody's doing anything.
Right. That is the whole thing. I have been told these pictures are photoshopped. I've been told I'm a liar. I've been told all kinds of things because I think it is beyond human understanding that those things can be done to other humans.
I tell you what, Karin, I challenge anybody internationally. Okay, you can live in a farm in the Northwest Province, up in the north. It's getting bad in the west and the south. But I challenge anybody internationally, if you have balls or guts, come live on a farm and see if you can survive it. You live in fear. You live behind wires. You live behind biggest security fences. But it's your own people that you actually nurture. Now they say, yeah, you abuse them.
Yes.
Okay, let's put it to you this way. I find a job, a work, and my boss doesn't treat me well. He underpays me of what I feel is my value. What do I do? Do I go kill him or do I quit and find another job?
Yeah, you leave.
You leave. And you don't leave with hatred. You don't rape his wife and his children, tie them up in wires and burn them with irons and, I don't want to get emotional about it. The human beings, if you're not happy, you move on. Now, I grew up as a child. I grew up on the farm. Okay, we had big farms. My father was part of a family with nine brothers and 2 sisters, 11 kids. That's what work families used to be, like big. Okay, and they cultivated, and they got more farms, and they fed more people. But the people that worked on our farms, okay, they worked for wage. Yes, they call it, what do they call it? The rum law. Okay. Now, if I give you 100 rand today, or if I give you a bottle of rum, it's the same freaking thing. Okay. But I don't want to go in there. I'm saving him the fuel to go buy his rum. Let's put it that way. No, it is, all jokes aside. They were well fed. The people, I can remember the people coming into my opa or my grandfather, and they asked him for soap, food, and they got their rations. They got their weekly rations enough to survive. A lot of them ate exactly the same as us. Okay, they had a roof over their head. What's my basic need? Now that I don't earn what I used to earn when I worked for Chevron, my basic need is to be happy, to have a roof over my head, to see my kids being fed. That is what makes me happy.
Mm.
Okay, now as any parent, I don't need a luxury car. I don't need the best TV. I don't need the best. It took me a while to realize this. Okay, now today, I would be just happy to have my roof over my head, see my kids happy and fed, and seeing them safe. And that's what the Boers want. They want to be left alone with a safe, happy family and just tending their piece of land.
But, well, since the beginning of the Boer Nation in 1652 with Jan van Riebeeck landing at the Cape, they have never been allowed that. We talk about previously disadvantaged blacks and the horrors inflicted on them by the white nation. But what about the disadvantaged whites? They have never, ever been allowed to live in peace. They trekked away from the Cape. Yeah, I'm still here. They've never been allowed to live in peace. They trekked away from the Cape to get away from it. They were attacked by the Zulus. They were fought by the Brits. They were sold out by the NP. They are now once again dispossessed by the ANC. When have the Afrikaner, not even that, the white nation of South Africa been allowed to live in peace? Never.
That's true. Even during the so-called apartheid years, I spoke about that memorandum that was set up by the KPK or the VDK,
yes,
which is the Volksverkiezing School.
Yes.
They've done a whole study. Now, I wish I can get a copy. Maybe you can go to their website. It's just www.kkk.co.za. There's a PDF of that memorandum. And inside there, you'll find a whole spreadsheet of the money spent during apartheid by the Boers, the poor white farmers, in education, feeding, building the best Baragwanath hospital. The people don't realize how much money was taken from taxes by the government of those days, the apartheid government. Yes, it was the apartheid government taxing the farmers. Remember, the blacks didn't have the voting right, so they never had to pay tax. So who had to feed them? Whose taxes fed them? Who paid for their schools, their education, their hospitals, their homelands? It was still the oppressed poor farmers that paid for it. So even though there was apartheid, and not everything of apartheid was good, but not everything was bad. Now today, apartheid is gone. Now they have to pay the taxes. Now they have to pay for their education. Now they want free education because they see, damn, it's expensive.
Yeah.
You see. So, the old saying is, be careful what you ask for, you might get it.
Yeah.
They asked for the country, they got it, and now they're unhappy with what they got.
Because they have to work for it. And
they have to work for it.
Yeah.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's hard work to look after yourself. Okay, yes, you've got a voting right now. Yes, you've got freedom now. Okay, but you have to work for it. You always have to work. You can't expect people to always look after you and to make things grow for you, and then kill those people that make things grow for you, and then expect it to go into a first world country. I mean, look at our neighboring countries. Look at Mozambique. Look at Angola. Look at all the countries that used to be colonized. They got their freedom, but go look at the cities now. It is a shambles. Look at the aid that needs to get sent to Africa just to keep them alive. It's horrendous that people that are willing to work hard and to feed them gets murdered.
And yet, Gerhardt, I saw a post on Facebook that I just had to shake my head. They say we don't need farmers because food comes from checkers. Now, do they really, really believe that? And also, don't buy meat from farmers because they kill animals. Buy it from checkers because no animals get hurt. I have no words at these gems of knowledge from our other color friends in South Africa. Is this supposed to be a joke, or do they really believe that?
Oh, well, I've heard you. I believe you've heard the other clips made by Malema that the thunderstorms are racist.
Yes.
Because they target the black people.
Yes.
Or our Minister of Water Affairs saying, damn,
we built the dams too big.
We're stealing the water at night.
Oh no, the best one on that, Gerhardt, was we built it, it's apartheid's fault, there's no water. Because if we built smaller dams, they would fill up quicker.
Exactly.
I mean, it's funny, but it isn't.
Well, it's difficult to say, but I believe, well, it's not difficult to say. I think you've heard that study made by some USA professor about the IQ.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, if you have an IQ of an average of 75, that's when you make statements like that. I mean, when Zuma said blacks don't need jobs, they need food on the table, how stupid is that? Okay. I mean, you can't count how the hell do you run a country, but in any case, if you as the president can't even pay your taxes and you do tax evasion, you can evade the jail so successfully for so many years. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But that is the way of the world. The people wanted them there. They've got them there. Now, I suppose the world will look after them. Because surely, soon enough, there won't be whites here to look after them. Then it becomes a responsibility of the rest of the world. And if things carry on like I see they're carrying on in Europe and the United States with the Black Panthers, pretty soon there will be no whites to look after all the blacks. I hope the blacks in other countries are willing to look after the ones in Africa, because they surely can't look after themselves.
Well, a very well-known black journalist in America, Michael Massey, he wrote an article recently about, so what are you going to do when all the whites are gone? And that is something people need really, really to think about. There is a worldwide effort to genocide whites, to get rid of all whites, either interbreed them out of whiteness or just kill a whole lot of them. But once we are gone, what is left? I read some very interesting articles on blacks have never built anything over 2 stories. When we got to the Cape, they didn't even have the wheel, much less anything else, never mind a written language, whatever. Whereas European civilization was so advanced at that stage. And so when we were gone, the creativity, the development, the research, all the good stuff that your black parliament loves, they fancy clothes, they fancy cars, they fancy houses. Where are those going to come from once the whites have gone?
Karin, yes, that is something to think about. But if you live here and you've spoken to a lot of them, they said they never wanted it in the first place. Now, if you look at what we found when we came here, that's exactly what they want. They want land, okay? They actually don't want. Yes, now they want their fancy watches and their fancy cars before they got used to them. But actually, what they only want, if you talk to them, is their subsistence farming where they go back to the old ways in the old days where they don't have to work, but the women have to work. Sweep the yards and watch the kids tend the cattle and things like that. But just not to basically not work and make their own little beer and things like that. And there's logic in that. Okay? But if the logic isn't that, then why when you have a riot, you first steal the alcohol, the fancy TVs, the likes, and the fancy clothes? Why don't you steal food? Because that's what you need to survive. You see, so like us as whites, we've gotten used to too much, and now we want to return back to our roots and just tend to what we want to tend to. I suppose they want the same, but they will never do it in harmony because there's an inherent jealousy, there's an inherent hatred. Now, like I've explained to you before, we don't hate blacks, okay? We don't hate other races, other people. If they leave us alone, they'll be left alone. But at the current rate that they're going, they are going to get something that they don't want.
My feeling on this is that they are inherently violent. If they did not have the flash, if they did not have the whites as the boogeyman, as it were, the tokolosh, the monster under your bed, would they not then go back to turning on each other and fighting each other as they did before they had the whites to fight?
They've never stopped. Okay. It's always been tribalism in South Africa or in Africa. It's never stopped. Look at your countries up north where the colonialists have been gone for a long time. Just look at Rwanda, for instance. The Tutsis and the Tutsis,
yeah.
It's tribal. It will never go away. It's in the nature. Remember what the scripture tells us. Okay, by your fruits you will be known. Okay. So, by their fruits they will be known. They will always rape, murder, and maim. And it's in their nature. So, there is no... If it wasn't for the fact that we believe so strongly in God, our Heavenly Father, there would be no silver lining. But we know there's a silver lining because in Revelations, there was a promise made to us, okay, that He will look after us. And we firmly believe in that. And I tell you what, they need to be afraid, very, very afraid. Because they don't have to be afraid of us. They have to be afraid of God. Because some other time, He's going to say, enough is enough. Now, that's the thing. Do they believe in God? If they believed in God, they wouldn't carry on the way they do. So, somebody once asked me about my religion. And I said, well, if I look at the Word and I look at what it teaches us to be inherently good, to look after each other, to provide for each other. Okay. Now, without that religion, what would we be? We would be exactly what is coming for us. You see. So, and don't get me wrong, Karin, there's a lot of good blacks out there. There's a lot of religious ones out there. And it's not up to me to judge who's good, who's bad. But they must look inside themselves and decide. A lot of us farmers or poor nation, we don't believe they go to heaven at all. Okay? As funny as that sounds, because that's their nature. But like I've been telling people, it's not up to us to judge. heaven and who goes to hell. That's for the Father. And that is what farmers in their core really believe. Otherwise, we wouldn't be looking after them. We wouldn't be feeding them in the first place. And sometimes, we've got this tremendous drought in South Africa. And then there's a cry for help. And then farmers, and I've heard of a couple of instances where blacks have helped, coloreds have helped, those farmers with feed and things like that. Sometimes I wish those farmers would wake up and say, listen, let's not feed these people. Let's just quit farming, even if it's for 10, 20 years. But it's not in our nature. People love to plant and grow. They love their animals. They don't want to kill them off and things like that. Sometimes I just want to say, listen, enough is enough. Show them what will happen if there is no white farmers. There's a lot of good black farmers out there. We haven't seen them make an impact yet, because out of let's say there's 100 of them, maybe 3, 4 will be successful. And are they successful enough to feed a whole nation? I say let the white farmers stop reducing, and let's see how hungry they get. Zimbabwe is a good example, because at how hungry those people are.
Yeah, and begging the white farmers to come back, although that in itself is a whole lie, because he'll say in one breath, I'm begging the farmers to come back, we'll be good to them, and then in the other breath he's saying the remaining farmers must go. So you can't believe a word he says, and any white man in his right mind who goes back to farm in Zimbabwe, I don't know if he really believes that man has changed. Or
no, they really believe it. They really believe it, but you're not allowed to own land. So basically, what they want is white slaves. Okay? So they want to work their land for them for nothing. Okay? So maybe they feel need to be slaves like they were slaves. I don't know. We never. Let's get to the slave. Right, if you look at history, who was the first slave traders?
The blacks sold their own people to the Arabs, and they're still doing that today. Today, they're still doing it. Where's the outcry about that?
We seem to get the blame for everything.
Gerhardt, I don't know where the world is at today, and I'm in a lot of ways, I'm very grateful that I'm old, and that hopefully the worst of this is not going to happen in my lifetime, because I've reached the stage where I don't understand the world anymore. The world was very simple to me. You worked hard. It's the American dream, although I've only been here 6 years, but it was the same all over the world. You got an education, you worked hard, you got married, you had kids, you bought a house, you sent your kids to good schools, and hard work paid off. And that's how it was most of my life. Nowadays, that doesn't exist anymore, because it seems to me that whites in South Africa, the harder they work, the more, if they're allowed to even work, the more of a target they become for death and torture and destruction. So the wages of hard work now are a horrific death.
Yeah, the world's pretty messed up. Not just South Africa, it's the whole world.
No, the whole world.
The whole world is becoming a rat race. The whole world doesn't realize what is actually happening. We touched upon South Africa, and what is the value of South Africa to the international world? I think most of your people, or your viewers, or your listeners out there don't realize what it's about. It's not about just giving up the whites. It is what is here. This is one of the richest countries in minerals.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think we spoke about that previously about the Koch power station, the nuclear power station that we have here. They're busy planning and or developing the plans for another one further up the coast from Koch. The ANC government bought 10 billion worth of nuclear reactors from Russia. So there's a lot of uranium, plutonium, and other minerals here. And that is what the world doesn't realize what it's about. It's not about the whites. It's the whites are just in the way of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The black people will sell any mineral rights. They sold most of their mineral rights to China already. Okay. So is the West going to allow the East to possess all this nuclear-capable material? They've already got the means here. They don't have to apply for NATO to get another license to build another thing. I mean, so somewhere I've read about the underground water rights was sold to Cuba. How far that is true, I don't know. It's all these rumors, but there's a lot of things here. Fishing rights. I mean, damn, selling that all off. Why do you sell your country's resources off to another country? Some other time, people need to realize out there that there's more behind the story. The crux of the matter is that there is a lot of minerals here. And the Boers are not worried about the minerals. They want to farm. Okay. But damn, if they come and mine or let's say come frack to Peru and they mess the Peru up and you can't tend your sheep on it anymore, then that's more land damage, wasted, things like that. I know the Americans want the right for fracking. I don't know who got it in the end. I think it's a Chinese consortium that got that. But there's so much behind the scenes raping of our natural resources in this country, and it's getting sold off. And the people in South Africa, and I'm talking about the black people in South Africa, do not realize that Zuma is selling everything as quick as possible. And he's pillaging the coffers, and it's a gravy train at the moment. So the rich are getting richer, and the poor will get poorer. And there is no more middle class. It's just rich and poor here.
Wow. It's a very, very, very sad story. We're coming up to a station break, and after the break, I'd like to talk about the people that you have dealt with and their reaction to the secession by King Kubaha in the Western Cape. Welcome back to Radio Free South Africa with your host, Karin Smith, and our guest tonight, Gerhardt Koch from South Africa. Gerhardt is a Boer from the heart outwards. He's a great man who is doing great things for the people of South Africa. He met with King Kubaha, and I would like to give him the opportunity of telling his own story of why he backs the secession of the Khoi in the Cape. Welcome back, Gerhardt.
Thanks, Karin.
So, Gerhardt, how did you get involved? That's the most interesting thing.
Well, you know, us Boers, with the current situation we're in, we've got safety groups, what we call piloting and safety groups. That means safety, and it's like the Satelande and other organizations out there that we believe we want to keep our families safe during the coming genocide, which we suspect is a mass genocide coming. Currently, there's a slow genocide coming. And we had these chat groups. And one night I was asked to talk on a chat group, and the topic was religion. And I spoke from the heart, and I got a call the next day asking me if I really want to come down to Cape Town and meet the Khoisan king, this King Kuba Calvin Cornelius III. And before that, I've never heard of this man. And I thought this is an interesting development. Why would things like this happen to me? And I prayed about it, and basically the answer came that, listen, they wouldn't have contacted you if it wasn't in my plan. And I'm talking about God's plan. And so I was still unsure. The next day I got another call, and they asked me just to listen and to get my view on it, seeing that they feel that I speak to a lot of people in South Africa on these chat groups. And now I speak to various organizations. I'm part of a bigger organization. My small organization is part of a bigger one. And we are starting to work together amongst ourselves to protect our families. And basically, I decided after that prayer that I should go to Cape Town to meet them and hear what they've got to say. But before I did this, I spoke to all the leaders of this group that I belong to, and they said, listen, you don't have a mandate to sign anything because you're not a chosen leader by the masses. So let's say there is a million Boers out there. I cannot speak on behalf of that million, and I'm only part of a group of about 100,000. Okay? Now, I'm not a leader of 100,000. I'm just part of a group. We don't feel that we are leaders. We feel we are servants. Okay? That we are out there to serve rather than lead. And unfortunately, there's a lot of organizations out there that the leaders don't feel the same. Yeah. They want to sit on top of the moles heap and shout the odds. But luckily, there is a group and an organization that believe that we need to work together and to sit around a table and get the best ideas. So I didn't do this on my own. I contacted them and I said, listen, I want to go down and hear what this Khoisan king is saying, and I'll give you feedback and see what's happening. And they said, listen, whatever you do, don't sign anything. Okay? Feel free to listen. You're an observer, and give us your opinion and your feedback of what this man has to say and what they're talking about. So, needless to say, before my trip to Cape Town, I said, God, if it's not your will that I get there, or that I'm not doing anything in your will, please let something happen, like a speeding fine or flat tire or broken down car, anything to close the door if it's not his will. Lo and behold, I got there without incident, and I met Kuba, and I actually listened to what this man said. And they put some documents in front of me, which is the secession documents.
Yes.
And I read what the secession document said. And it's everything that I feel the Boer nation wants. Because if you read what Kuba said in the secession and his reasons for secession, and one of the things there is the murder of farmers and the BEE system and the oppression. Now, he wasn't talking just for the Khoisan. He was talking for 4 nations here. And getting their own land a couple of times with the secession of what we call the West Transvaal. We tried to get our independence or just recognition as a nation. And there is a resolution 435, okay, Article 6, that says we've got the right to self-determine, but we were being denied that. So when I got there and I read his reasons, reasons for secession, I agreed with everything. And I thought, this is not a bad idea. And obviously, they wanted me to sign there that night. And I explained to them that I had no mandate to sign. Okay? But I do agree with what they say, and I will take it back to this particular group that I belong to, that is an umbrella for a whole bunch. Currently, it's 13 other groups. Okay, maybe not as big as the Sakelanders, but still, they don't believe in the same thing as the Sakelanders, and they believe in being proactive rather than reactive. The Sakelanders is a reactive group. They want to wait for genocide and then react under the Geneva Convention, where we feel, why wait for the Geneva Convention to protect us if they are killing us slowly? So the secession was an ideal vessel for me to take forward and to discuss with other leaders and to see how they feel about it. So I took it back and I took the documents back to them and I said, listen, this guy's reason for seceding includes us. He's offering us a hand. Now, do you step away at the hand that maybe God has reached out to you? We've always prayed for something to happen, and this is something happening. Maybe this is the hand of God in it, and He's extending something towards us, a little ray of hope. So I laid it before the guys, and this past weekend we had another meeting. After a couple of meetings, I didn't meet Kuba once. I went back a couple of times on his invitation, and he even came down to visit me. And we spoke extensively. I like what the man says. I like his humility.
Yes.
I like the fact that he's a humble person. And what I like most of all is he believes in the same God as me, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And what he's saying is that God is in control, even of the good hope. So he puts God as the supreme leader, or the supreme ruler of this good hope. And what I've seen of the man is I like him. I like what he says. I like what his demeanor. I've taken the time to study articles about him. Since I've heard about him for the first time, we've done some extensive studies in the man, what he's done. I've read some documents from Professor Nagin in the United States. I've seen his tree line, his family tree, his history. To me, he's a credible man. And we've become friends. I'm going to say that. We've become friends. We talk on a daily basis, nearly every day. When I'm in phone signal or anything like that, I travel a lot. So I took it back to the guys, and we had a word about it. Now, with our past history in South Africa, with the AWB and the Botswana, with the Western Transvaal, with their secession, and the bad reputation that some organizations had, I was basically instructed and told that groups will not put their names to it, but individuals. Each individual I spoke to likes the idea and stands with the idea. Now, when I talk about about individuals, I didn't just speak to Boer Nation people. I spoke to liberals. I spoke to coloureds I've seen. I've spoken to some Khoisan. And I think there was only two people in all these people I've spoken to that was against it, because they don't recognize the true name of God as I've come to know it. So we've got a religion problem as well, but that's been an age-old problem always. I mean, people fight about race, people fight about religion, and they fight about politics. And so I understood when these guys said that they don't agree with it because my God is Yahuwah, and I call him Yahuwah. And his son is not Jesus Christ to me, his son is Yeshua. And I get that from the old Aramaic translation. Now, being born and raised in South Africa, you get born and raised in the old NFEC Act and near the Dutch Reformed Church. You have to also understand it's difficult for people to realize that they've lived their whole lives a lie. And they've lived it from teachings from the Roman Catholics and the Jewish people, not the Israelites, the Jewish. And so it's hard for people to realize that lived their whole life wrong and a lie. And you have to adapt according to that. So the people that disagreed with me were people that can't believe that a colored person or a Khoisan person will pray to the same God as a Boer nation. Okay. Now, this is where I'm trying to tell them, who are we to judge? Because judgment is not reserved for us, it's reserved for God. And so slowly but surely people are coming around and the numbers are growing. But what I've told them is, even though they believe that those people cannot serve the same God, it's still a ray of hope that they are extending. And, you know, if you, in these days, if you don't grab any ray of hope or any straw extended to you, no matter how small it is, you would be stupid. And we are not a stupid race. So the majority of us that knows about the secession, okay, believe in it and we support it. No group is going to support it because not everybody knows about it. And it causes infighting amongst the groups. So, excuse me, the individuals I've spoken to strongly supports the secession.
So,
that answers you.
Yeah, no, it does. But for me, that is a big thing, because Mel and I from CCN TV, we arranged a live feed, thinking and being sure that the media around the world would pick up on this. And yet, even in South Africa, there was a tiny little paragraph in one of the newspapers about it, and that's all. There has been silence. And so we have been beset by people saying that this is a scam, that it's nonsense, that it never happened, that for what reason we did it, they can't tell us. But, we did this for a scam. Because nobody other than the king has stood up and validated it at all. And now, from what you've said, I kind of understand that South Africans don't even know about it.
Well, if you take it, the government owns SABC 1, 2, and 3, which is our local channels. Then ETV is owned by some other union, I think it's COSATU. And then ANN7 is owned by the Guptas, which is friendly to the ANC. I mean, they're basically practically in the same bed.
Yeah, they own the ANC.
So that's your local government, by your Jewish persons, they're definitely not going to report on it. Okay, because this is something that can change a lot of things in South Africa. And, once I've used this analogy a lot when I explain to people that I talk to, I said, there's going to be trouble.
Yeah.
We've got this dog called the ANC.
Yeah.
And we've got this other dog called the Good Hope. And there's a bone. They're going to fight about this bone. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So thinking that this is going to be a peaceful secession, forget about that. It should be peaceful about that. But there's like waiting and doing nothing, staring down the barrel of a genocide.
Yeah.
So either way, we damned if we do, we damned if we don't.
Yeah.
At least with this few, we've got a chance. Okay. And it's a chance of unity. In other words, your numbers swell bigger. And if you look at the demographics of the Good Hope, 85% is colored. Okay? And the rest is 15%. So, like I've explained to the Boers, you've got a fence, and most of you guys are fence sitters. Now you need to decide, do you support a country where the president is shouting, kill the Boers, or kill the whites, one bullet, one Boer?
Yeah.
They're not going to differentiate between a Boer and a white person.
Yeah.
All white people are considered Boers by the blacks. The Boers consider themselves a breed apart from the rest of the whites because they're not literal fingers. Okay. So, and on the other side of the fence, you've got this country with a Good Hope that's saying, listen, come here, come help us, make this successful under God, the same God as that you serve. And they're offering you a lot of things that the other side is not offering you. So now you've got two companies that you've done a job application for, but the one is offering you a better salary than the other one with more perks than the other one.
Yeah.
Which one are you going to choose? You choose the one that gives you more perks and a better salary.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see. So it's a very simple deduction that each person has to go sit down and do the maths and choose which side of the fence you fall on, because you all sit on the middle of the fence.
Yeah.
So
I see it as really life or death. And I see the secession as life and refusing to back that as ultimate death, because as you said, the ANC is not going to ask, are you a Boer? Do you believe this? Were you liberal? Did you stand up against apartheid? They're not going to ask you any of those questions. They are just going to murder you. So choose, and choose wisely, which side of history you're going to be on.
It's true. You see, there's a huge problem that needs to be overcome. Okay? The Good Hope needs funds for the secession.
Yeah.
Funds that they can't get from a government.
Mm.
There's no rich benefactors in this country.
Yeah.
There's no rich farmers to give them money.
Yeah.
Like I've explained to you, you've got farmers, and then you've got liberal farmers, or Freemason farmers, or the Broederbond, the Masonic farmers. And we can't rely on them to give up or to fund this, because things are going well with them, because they're part of the brotherhood.
Yeah.
Now, the farmers being murdered aren't part of that brotherhood. Okay?
Yet.
So
Yet.
they're already struggling to survive and to keep heads above water with this whole, since 1994, we've been basically downtrodden, BEE, reverse racism. We have become poor as well. But that was all part of their plan.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the ANC's plan.
Yeah.
And so it's difficult for us to fund the Good Hope. Thus, we cannot do that. So that is a bridge that still needs to be crossed somehow to get funds for people to basically travel and get recognition from another country. And that is a problem that I cannot solve for them, and that the poor nation cannot solve for them. I mean, it's difficult as it is, especially with so little of them knowing about it. I'm sure once they realize that there is something like that going, if we can get that word out that there is a secession and what is the purpose of the secession, there will be more funds readily available. But it's a catch-22 at this stage of it, of how do we make people aware without funds, without help like you are giving us now with this media problem that we have, because there is a media blackout about it.
Yeah.
So your radio program is a small step, or I hope it's a huge step in helping us in either with funding or just getting the word out there with the secession.
Yeah, you see the funding thing as well. That became a problem with the interference of Front National, because they stated more than once that this whole thing was a scam to get money. Just wait, there's going to be a call for donations. So to go public now, we've already been shot in the foot by Front National on that front.
But that's the PDF Plus, Front National. I don't think you're talking about Front National. I'm thinking you're talking PDF Plus.
No, Front National. Daniel Lotter from Front National. When he first went public with this, he attacked us from all sides and said that this is just a scam by the king to get money. And so it's kind of hindered us in fundraising, because we do not want to give them further ammunition. And also the fact that only the king has had the courage to come forward so far has also hindered that, because everyone that I've spoken to has said, well, did it really happen? Is it real? Is it a flash in the pan? Is it nonsense? And they're not prepared to commit. So there are people who would give funds, but the disbelief is greater than the belief. And so we're hitting a brick wall here.
I tell you what, if I had a couple of million lying around and my very vicious red-haired wife with blue eyes wouldn't fool me, I would have funded this the whole thing myself.
Yeah.
I don't have the funds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it's all difficult. It's so strange that the whole world will support a country like Ethiopia because they're dying of hunger. Okay. But here you have a whole nation that's on basically not just one nation. You've got the Boers, you've got what they call the Eurocana now, which is anybody that white that assimilated from other, if it's Britain, Scotland, Ireland, Europe, that is assimilated in South Africa. You've got the Khoisan and you've got the Coloureds. And all those nations are at risk here. Now, it's difficult to believe that the whole world will stand back in shock and horror after the fact.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have another Rwanda situation here. And then it's going to cost them more. Okay? Whereas over here, all we need now is basically travel money. Okay? Or maybe I must show my car. That is, it's difficult. It's a very difficult situation. What the hell do? Are you just going to sit back and watch and afterwards say, damn, those poor people, we better not let this happen in our country. And the sad thing is, it's already happening in your country. It's already happening in Europe. Yeah. It's already happening in England. Yeah. The people will wake up to it later. Okay. We are just us. And I don't even know about all the Black Power leaders that came together in what they call Tanzania, which is Soweto. I think it was last year sometime. They came for a meeting, and it was pretty much publicized what their agenda was, and the agenda was basically world domination by black people. Yeah. And if the whites think all over the world that, hey, it's only happening in South Africa, give it another couple of years, maybe 10, 20 years, not even. Not even. Speaking in the background. No, not even, Gerhardt. Not even. Because look at Europe and the influx of Africans into Europe and how they've destroyed it. It's not even. South Africa is the blueprint for what happens in the rest of the world. They've been successful in South Africa, rolling it out slowly, one step at a time, and now they're rolling it out fast everywhere else. And if we do not save the white South Africans, I promise you that is a blueprint for where the world is going. Exactly. So my little nugget of wisdom for the other whites in the world or other people in the world, if you don't want to see the world going down a rat hole, you better start supporting South Africa very quick and the cause here, because once it succeeds here, what is next? Who is next? Yeah. Yes, exactly, Gerhardt, exactly, and that has been my point for years. So we, as far as I understand it, we need to raise immediately $5,000, which in the scheme of a safe place, a safe country for white people, for the Khoisan, for the Coloureds, is nothing. It is peanuts. It's a drop in the damn ocean. So we need to raise that, and we need to have raised that last week, not today, not tomorrow, last week, to overcome the last hurdle for the secession, and then they are accepted, and it's a reality. It's done. It's a done deal. So we need to go all out to do this. It's a nothing. It is such a small hurdle, but people, they will give to the most unbelievably pathetic causes, but they will not give to this one. And I fail to understand it. Yeah, but also, like I said, if we make a plan, if the world doesn't help us, we will find a way on our own. We are also working our little plans and things. We're not sitting back and waiting for the world to help us. And you know what? If it's God's will, and I know it's God's will, it will happen. Okay. And the funds will come from somewhere. Be it from ourselves, I lost you for a moment there, Gerhardt. A couple of people have contacted me today. We are working on a couple of things, And all I can say is watch the space. With or without the help from the rest of the world, this will happen. I don't know how we're going to get the news out there. There's so many things we actually need for our whole plan. I'm going to mention a couple. HF radios. There's going to be a communication blackout. We're going to need things like that. We're going to need to store up diesel fuel. I understand that is what Simon Ross from the Sideliners was doing out in America. Luckily, they're a big organization and they can fund trips like that for Simon to stay in America and do fundraising like that. Unfortunately, we are not in a position to send delegates outside, and we can only rely on people like you to help us.
And we are doing the best we can. There are a handful of us with a number of American broadcasters and journalists who are doing their very best to spread the word of this. There is a lady from Sweden coming to South Africa early next month to write articles on it, to interview people. We are doing the best we can to spread the word, but it is a long, slow process, and I feel that we don't have time. It has to happen now. Time is not on our side, Gerhardt.
Is she good looking?
Sorry? Is she? I keep losing you. Your signal keeps going.
I'm just saying because we said that she good looking because I think my wife might leave me because of all this.
Yeah. Yes, she is very good looking. She's very, very good looking, very nice, very sweet. She's been in South Africa, written many articles about the squatter camps. She's a fabulous ally to have and very well known internationally. So, I don't think you can have her though.
No, because the one thing you learn about the Boers, no matter how big the obstacle, how big the fight, they will always have a sense of humor.
Yes, I know.
So that is the one thing. We'll have a good fight, and then afterwards we'll start the braai fires or the barbecue fires and have a beer and have a joke, and the next day we'll go back to fighting.
Yeah.
Each other.
Yeah, I know. I've never met anything as stubborn as a Boer. You put more than 3 in one room and they'll never agree on anything. Yeah.
But it makes it interesting. It makes it fun. I love my Boer nation. I love the people. Being part of today's Black Monday March as well. You see so many people, and they're still laughing, and they're still making jokes. And I mean, the one bakkie or pickup truck, as you guys call it, had a sign on it saying "A Boer feeds the nation," and on the back of his bakkie he had bagged beetroot. And as the people walked past, they could grab a bag of beetroot. And then the other Boers would walk past and say, "Hey man, stop acting like a black and stop stealing the food now. It's not a riot." But everywhere you go, there's still a sense of humor. And no matter how hard things become, that's what they need to be afraid of. There will always be a Boer somewhere with a sense of humor, but still ready and willing to die and fight for his God, his family, and his nation.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have broken up a very, very terrible line.
Yeah.
Okay. And that line is gonna some other time that line is gonna get free.
It's so funny. You call it a lion in South Africa. Here in America, they say don't poke the bear. And this bear in South Africa has woken up and is now getting angry. And I think they must stop poking that bear.
That's it.
And on that note,
the funny thing, that concept for, we don't want them to poke anymore, we want them to scratch, because we're starting to enjoy it. We're starting to relish what is coming.
Yeah, and that is a dangerous place to be in. A very dangerous place.
When you've got nothing else to lose, Karin,
yeah,
that's when it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're putting us in a position where we've got nothing else to lose.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not a good thing that they've done. It is not a good thing. So before we get to violence, I'd like to thank you very much, Gerhardt, for giving your time to the show this evening, and to wish you well in everything that you're doing, because very few people seem to have stood up so far. From my distance, that's how it looks. It might not be the case, but it feels that way. So thank you very much. I wish you luck, and I will do my utmost to raise the funds that are required for this purpose. And God bless you. God bless Good Hope. God bless the United States. And God help the world we live in today.
Once I was a blind man, wandering to and fro. Once I was in sin, out of control. But he reached down and picked me up, poured his spirit over me, and knocked the scales from my eyes, and now I see. Praise Him, praise Him, praise His holy name. I was in sin, but He loved me just the same. Praise Him, praise Him, praise Him, the beginning and the end. When I leave this world, won't you be praising His name? Suffer little children, come on to thee. The Lamb's blood is life, He'll set you free. Depressed, oppressed, starving and deep, save your soul. your heart.